All right, happy Monday. Sonic Temple is going to be announcing their full lineup tomorrow afternoon at 12 o'clock. We're going to be going live here on the channel about 10-15 minutes before, so go ahead, hit subscribe, hit those notifications, that way you know right when the stream goes live you can join us. And we're going to be doing a live reaction to the entire lineup, kind of giving thoughts, impressions, and expectations, what we're kind of looking forward to the most. Very excited for that. We do know some of the bands, we know a couple of our headliners, and then some more kind of lower down the list, kind of down the ballot, so to say, bands that were going to be there as well. But in order to give it a proper assessment, I kind of want to talk about some previous years and go back through all of the lineups that we've had for Sonic Temple in the past. So we're going to do that today. Now, Sonic Temple technically started in 2019 prior to COVID, but they had a predecessor festival. We're not going to be talking about it right now, but it is worth noting Rock on the Range is a previous music festival used to take place at the same spot. Kind of had a similar lineup, had a different promoter though. So now this is going to be DWP era only. And even this one, I'm only going to talk about from kind of the perspective of giving the idea of how this festival found its roots and how it got to where it got to today. So in 2019, they had their first ever Sonic Temple. It was at, I believe this is the same place. It's the stadium for the Major League Soccer team. And this is kind of a unique festival layout, at least as far as DWP's festivals. So since you have the stadium, they have the setup inside the stadium for the main stage. So whenever you're thinking about this festival versus a regular festival setup, and this is going to be important when we talk about which artists are playing where as the video goes on, that most of your bands that would typically close a second main stage, your second headliner, so to say, they would normally play on your second main stage. They're going to be playing on Temple stage here. So basically, you're kind of combining the two, and then these other three stages are going to be what your typical side stages would be at a different festival, in a sense. It's not 100% one-to-one like that, but it's something to keep in mind that if you've been to another festival, like if you've been to like a Louder Than Life, or if you've been to Aftershock or Welcome to Rockville, that it's not set up exactly the same way. So this was the 2019 lineup, like I said before. Your headliners, you got Foo Fighters, System of a Down, and Disturbed. So two of those three headliners are still headlining festivals now. Disturbed, I would say, even as a headliner. They closed out second main at Rockville last year, 2024. You got Bring Me the Horizon. They were pretty high up there for that time frame, considering that they are, controversial as a headliner now. Or I wouldn't say controversial necessarily, but there's definitely a vocal minority against them. And then the Prodigy, who I believe were replaced by Papa Roach. When we look at the set times, then we can kind of get a little better feel for that. And then Ghost, which I didn't realize Ghost was this big at that time. I saw Ghost, I think, back in 2016 or 2017 at a local festival, and I was not really impressed at that point in time. And then they put out some of their more mainstream material. I got into them a little bit later. You got some bands down here too that are pretty noteworthy. You got Hailstorm, still kind of kicking it in this same kind of spot. Same with Lamb of God, Chevelle, a lot of typical ones. You got some Joan Jett and Cult action going on here as well in this moment. The Hives is a rarity, I would say. They don't tour the U.S. a lot. Same with Gojira. Well, Gojira tours more now. And then you got some heavier stuff with Suga down here. You got Action Bronson, kind of a odd one. Kill Switch Engage, Parkway Drive, Black Label Society, Beartooth, Scars on Broadway, which is Darren from System of a Down's other band, Architects, Tom Morello, and then I'm trying to look, you got Bad Wolves, Fever, Mark Lanigan, Bad Flower. There's a lot of good bands here. Wage War, back in the early days, trying to see if there's anybody at the bottom that's kind of become bigger. But a lot of these bands are still around. This isn't that long ago. They're still pretty big festival fixtures as well. This lineup's pretty decent. I think I'll give this like a B. It's a solid lineup, but it's nothing that's like absolutely amazing other than the fact that it has System of a Down. If it had the Prodigy it ended up playing, then it would probably be like an A- for me. You can get an idea for the set times also. You have System of a Down playing by themselves at the end of the first night, with Ghost playing for an hour. You have a Suga on the outside stage playing for 50 minutes, Hailstorm for 50 minutes, Black Label 40 minutes. Yeah, you got a decent amount of set time, or a decent amount for all the sets throughout the day. Kind of scales accordingly. Saturday, you're looking at Disturbed finishing out with an hour and a half set, Papa Roach with an hour set, 30 minutes in between, which is actually a pretty impressive changeover, to be honest. The Cult playing for 50 minutes outside, Lamb of God 55 minutes at 7 o'clock. 2 hours. I doubt. I mean, they probably ended a little bit before that, but even then, this is pretty atypical for a festival headliner. I'm sure it was a condition of their performance that they only agreed to play in a 2-hour slot, because when we talk about Rockville, you'll see the same thing. Actually, did Foo Fighters, I think, play just another Sonic Temple also, so we'll see them a little bit later in the video, that they always play a 2-hour set no matter what. And it's very rare for you to see a 2-hour set at one of these festivals. As much as I wish it was more common, they only get it for your select few bands. You get it for, like, I remember Foo Fighters, Tool is another one that got a 2-hour set before. Green Day this past year got an extended set, but it was only by about 15 extra minutes. So Bring Me the Horizon played for about an hour. I actually saw them on this tour, or around this time, and they were doing this like hospital theme. It was really cool. And they were touring with Sleeping with Sirens and Poppy. I saw them, I think, in like August later in the year. So they were a lot higher profile, I guess, on the festival circuit than what I was expecting, because where I saw them was like a club that had like 800 people, and it didn't even sell out. I bought tickets at the gate, and it wasn't crowded, it wasn't oversold or anything like that. So Joan Jett with 50 minutes, Hives played 40, Chevelle played 40, a little bit shorter of a day for your supporting act. Scars on Broadway played on a side stage as well, so they didn't do it where they played 2 separate days for the 2 bands, so it's kind of cool. And they mostly 30-minute sets earlier in the day. Like I said, nobody who's really kind of elevated. There's not like a hidden gem. I want to try and see. This is a little bit too new of a festival almost. Like, you don't have enough time to have seen somebody who like ascended like crazy, like we're gonna see with Bad Omens whenever we talk about Rockville. But that was the first Sonic Temple. Like I said, I give that a B. It's a solid lineup, but it's nothing that I would made a trip for or wanted to make a trip for. I also want to talk about the canceled lineup. This is 2020, obviously COVID, and the festival would be paused for several years after that. I want to talk quickly about 2020, which was obviously canceled due to COVID. The effect that had on Sonic Temple actually leads to it not happening for a couple more years. The festival wouldn't come back until 2023. So a lot of these other festivals don't have like a 1-year layoff, in certain cases 2 for others. But this festival was away for a while. Like, the brand, you only had one Sonic Temple and then you were gone. So it's like, it wasn't it was just very unfortunate circumstances. But this is the double Metallica when they were supposed to play all 5 of the Danny Wimmer Fest. I was actually going to go to this because I think it was the week either before or week after Rockville. I was going to go see them at Rockville, and then I was going to go drive up to Columbus. Like, the next day I was going to do a road trip out there because it was like my first summer out of college. So Metallica, yeah, Bring Me the Horizon again, Royal Blood, Sublime with Rome at the time, Flatbush Zombies, Anthrax, Ghostman, Hell Yeah, Sleeping with Sirens, Testament, Power Trip, Dirty Honey. This is a pretty big lineup. I don't think they ever ended up announcing more, but some gingers down here, Bones. Saturday you got Slipknot, Evanescence, Stain, Cypress Hill, Alter Bridge, Pennywise, Ice Nine Kills, Knocked Loose, and The Darkness, which is your kind of rare or unusual, kind of not a band you would typically see touring the United States. So it's like you're, oh, okay, cool, I want to see these guys because they're here. Saint Asonia, I don't recognize any of the names down here really. Metallica with Deftones on Sunday, Pretty Reckless, Rancid, Dropkick Murphys, Pop Evil, Suicidal Tendencies, DGD, Code Orange, The Who, Crowbot, and shout out to Brass Against. If you know, you know. But you know, this lineup is a little bit stronger, I would say, than the previous one. But I'm not crazy about it. B plus is the best I would say for it. It's really carried by the fact that it has Metallica. Slipknot's still a good alternate headliner for that other day as well, but it is an improvement over what 2019 would have been, but not anything that's super crazy or worth making a trip. If you're not close enough, just go to it already. Obviously it didn't happen, so we don't have any set times for this one. 2023 festival came back, and this was a big lineup drop when it happened. I was actually shocked that this ended up coming back. So let's zoom in a little bit. You got on Thursday, first 4-day edition of this, by the way, Tool and Godsmack, Beartooth, Bullet for My Valentine, Pennywise, Bad Omens, Suicidal Tendencies, Fever, Anti-Flag, before they broke up, Joey Valence and Bray. We got Bones and Horror down here, The Warning. Nobody that, like I said, is really like ascended though. Avenged Sevenfold Rival Sun, Yellow Wolf, Avatar Senses Fail from Ashes to New. Sunday, you got Foo Fighters, Deftones, Sublime with Rome, Jawbreaker, Pretty Reckless, AWOL Nation, Nothing More, Grandson, White Reaper, Filter, and Aaron Jones. So I think this is the first lineup where you can really say that it did kind of get to the next level for me. I would give this a solid A-. Like, it's between B+ and A- because it's clearly a step up for them. It's a big time upgrade in the lineup overall. I think that you have two solid headliners for every single night. I think having Kiss on their farewell tour is a very notable step up. Avenged Sevenfold, this was their first tour in like 6 or 7 years, I think, since the stage came out. They hadn't played live. And Tool is always in demand. They had just got back together post-COVID. They hadn't toured in a long time. So this is a big-time ticket. Foo Fighters was, I think, post-Taylor Hawkins passing away. Deftones was on the rise. This is before they like blew up super big, but they were still on the rise, ascending to the level of popularity they never had at any other point in their career. And as you'll kind of see, I know this is extremely ugly, and I hated this year when they did this lineup, but these are the set times. There was only 3 stages because there's not quite as many artists at this point, so you downsized a little bit from 2019. But Tool played for an hour 40, Godsmack played for an hour 10. So like I said, with the Temple stage, which is what they call the stages inside the stadium, you're getting both headliners for the night are going to be inside, and then your outside is going to be where your kind of second tier starts, like Bullet for My Valentine, and Chevelle. Well, that we'll see as we go through. So Tool played for an hour 20, Godsmack played for an hour 10, so that's a good way to kind of give them a little bit more. I think Tool's obviously bigger and better than Godsmack, but still give Godsmack an hour 10, a respectable act at this point. Beartooth 45 minutes, Pennywise 40 minutes. You kind of scale throughout the day, starting with 30 going up. And then you got Octane, which is outside. Bullet plays for 50 minutes, Bad Omens plays for 45, Anti-Flag for 35 minutes, and then you kind of scale down throughout the day. So that was Thursday. Friday, Avenged Sevenfold plays for an hour and a half, Queens of Stone Age plays for an hour, Chevelle plays for 50 minutes. You got I Prevail outside playing a 50-minute set, Knock Loose playing for 40 minutes. And then on Saturday, Kiss plays for an hour and a half, Rob Zombie gets an hour 10, Falling Universe gets 50 minutes, Trivium gets 40, and then you get for outside. So you got both them and Tool in the same one, which is kind of cool. And then this third stage is kind of nice too. You got Yellow Wolf and Senses Fail out here. And then Attila must have been a replacement, because there are a lot of these aren't final lineups, so there's going to be some artists that get added and swapped out as well. I'll go over the notable ones if there's any that I remember very distinctly, because there's going to be a couple from this past year that I have a little bit more backstory for. Sunday, is you can see here again, you got Foo Fighters playing for 2 hours, you got Deftones playing for an hour, Jawbreaker 45, Pretty Reckless 45, the rest are pretty standard. Sublime with Rome plays for 50 minutes outside. Alright, so that was 2023. We'll jump into 2024 now. So this is tiered by where the artists are actually going to go, so this should match up to the stages. So I essentially would treat this, when you're looking at the way that this is set up for the purposes of just visuals, is that these two bands, if you were at another festival, would be your two headliners on each stage, and then this would be your direct support. This would be the band that goes on beforehand. I think this is another this is a lateral move from the previous year, because while I'm not as crazy about the headliners, I don't think the headliners are as big ticket. I do think that you have a step up in quality in terms of the bands further down the lineup. What do I mean by that? So your main stage for Thursday, you got Disturbed Evanescence, Mudvayne, Theory, and then POD, Drowning Pool. I think that throughout the day is a great value. Even if you just look at the bands that are here, like each day, if you don't leave that inside of the stadium, you're getting a really good bang for your buck as far as the bands that are here in this main stage. Like Friday, you get Misfits, Falling in Reverse, Seether, Anthrax, Dirty Honey, Nonpoint. Saturday's Pantera, Stained, Breaking Benjamin. These you can get a band down to here that's headlining their own show at an amphitheater and doing pretty well in sales. So Starset, Living Colour, Saint Estonia. Sunday's Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, A Day to Remember, and Royal Blood. But then the second stage, I think, steps up in quality just consistently throughout the day. You have a really strong closer. Like any of these bands, in my opinion, could also close out a second main stage been like kind of at the beginning slash, while they were on the rise. They hadn't quite got to the level that they're at currently. But, you got Kerry King, Ghost Inside, Nova Twins, then Sum 41, Black Veil Brides Movements, In This Moment, Flyleaf, Kitty, Architects, Wage War, and Mice and Men. So this stage is all right. This is pretty good. And then we'll just do headliners for these last couple because I don't want to say your name every single band. But Cypress Hill, Mr. Bungle, Pofia, Clutch, Machine Head, Avatar, Slaughter Prevail, and Tech 9. You got Electric Callboy up here as well. They're a band that's kind of ascended to the point that they would close. I think they would definitely close out one of these side stages at this point. I'm pretty comfortable saying that, considering that they're doing a headlining tour at second level arenas especially. This is your set times for 2024. So Disturbed played for an hour and a half, Judas Priest did an hour 10, Evanescence for an hour, Kerry King got 50 minutes, Mudvayne for 45, Theory of a Dead Man at 350 or at 50 minutes. POD plays for 35. So you got bands, Drowning Pool starts at 120. So if you're standing just inside, you're getting a pretty good value. There's not a whole lot of layoff time too, earlier in the day especially. You still have time to get all the stuff done that you need to get done. And then Judas Priest being outside is kind of crazy. Friday is a little bit weirder because Misfits don't play for as long. This is generally true. I saw Misfits play here at the local amphitheater that we have a couple years ago, and they only played for about an hour 10, about the same amount of time. And Megadeth opened for them, and they played for about an hour. So this is kind of a similar setup. Misfits played for an hour 10. Falling Universe played for an hour before that. Rise Against got an hour on their stage. Sum 41 on their farewell tour got 50 minutes. Cedar for 45. Black Veil Brides for 45, and then Anthrax for 45. So go ahead and jump to Saturday. Pantera plays for an hour 15. You got Sleep Token for an hour. Stain for an hour. In This Moment gets 50. Breaking Benjamin gets 50. Flyleaf gets 40. Starset gets 40. And then you're down to 30s for the rest of the afternoon pretty much. And Sunday, Slipknot plays for an hour 20. 311 gets an hour. Limp Bizkit gets an hour. Architects for 50 minutes. Day to Remember gets 50 minutes. Wage War gets 40 minutes. Robot gets 40 minutes. So you got Bad Religion playing at 2:40 in the afternoon if you stay at the main stage. That's just a crazy thing to think about. Did I miss them on the initial lineup? Did they replace somebody? Looks like no, they were there. Their name wasn't. That's crazy. They were that far down the lineup, but their name didn't even show up. You got Mice and Men playing outside at 3:32. Wage War playing at 4:45. That's kind of crazy. This is a really good festival day. I didn't give this an A- as well. I think the jump in quality for Sonic Temple has been very noticeable between when they went away and when they came back. This has been pretty consistently strong. Like I said, this year I'm not as wild about the headliners necessarily. Disturbed, I think, is a little bit too played out. Slipknot, even though I'm wearing a Slipknot shirt, they played a billion DWPs. They're not like necessarily a massive draw, but Pantera getting back together, all right. To me, they're not like a headliner level, but that's a teach their own kind of thing. I love Pantera. I really like their music, but they would be better like in one of these spots, I think. And then you get somebody a little bit bigger. Misfits, they don't play a lot, so that's something cool. I'll give them points for that at least. But I think that the deeper the lineup got this year made it a lot better. You made it really worth it for the people who are going to be outside and inside, which is what you kind of want to also have to strike a balance between. So again, I think this is like a solid A-. This is 2025, the most recent iteration of the festival. So you have it's not quite a return, but the grand arrival, I should say, of Metallica after missing out on the 2020. They came back and they did their 2 nights as part of their most recent tour. This is the only festival I believe that they did. I think the rest were all just regular stadium dates. First night, you're gonna get Korn, Bad Omens, 3 Days Grace, Seven Dust, Metallica on Friday with Rob Zombie, Alice Cooper, Testament. Saturday is Linkin Park, Incubus, I Prevail, Trivium. You got Hoobastank also, shout out to them, and Sick Puppies. I didn't see that either. Sunday is Metallica again, Alice in Chains, Chevelle, Quicksand, and then your second stage, Motionless in White, Poppy, Memphis Mayfire on Thursday. Friday's Mastodon, Acid Bath, Suicidal Tendencies. Saturday, Bullet for My Valentine, Jimmy Eat World of Mice and Men. That is a rough spot for Jimmy Eat World to be in also. I would have felt like it would have made a lot more sense if they were swapped with I Prevail. Ice Nine Kills, Hollywood Undead, Aston Alexandria on Sunday. And then you got Killswitch, Cannibal Corpse, Grandson, Arch Enemy, Ministry, Whitechapel, Under Oath, and Power Trip as your outside headliner out. Ginger, Hatebreed, Crossfade, War as well. Those are pretty big names, worth saying anyway. So honestly, I gotta say, getting Metallica back Rise Against, you can kind of debate. They're probably not a headliner type material or like a direct support type material, but Sleep Token's up on the rise as well. You don't really have this is not as strong as your second stage year before, and then I don't think you have bands playing all. You know what? I'll renege on that. You do have a decent lineup all throughout the day on the indoor, the stadium, the stage. So we'll just take a look here at what these sets look like. I don't think that this is 100% accurate, but we'll talk about a couple of the replacements that happened as well, because there were some. So you got Korn playing for an hour and a half, Motionless in White playing for an hour at the same time as Kill Switch Engage. Bad Omens got an hour 10, which is what they got at Rockville as well. I believe all of your second headliners get an hour 10 on the schedule this year. Poppy with 45 minutes and 3 Days Grace with 50. Seven Dust 45. Memphis Mayfire up 35, it looks like. Popping over to Friday, Metallica getting the full 2 hours. Unfortunate for anybody who was a Juggalo that is also a big Metallica fan, because Insane Clown Posse was playing at the same time. Mastodon gets an hour to close out. Rob Zombie gets an hour to close out. Well, you know what? Rob Zombie got an hour 10 louder than life, I think. He did just an hour here. Acid Bath, 40 minutes. Alice Cooper got a full hour. Suicidal Tendencies with a 45, and Testament with a 40. Alright, so I have it kind of side by side. So Incubus was actually the second of the two major bands that had to cancel. They only canceled like 1 or 2 shows. It doesn't look like they had a replacement. What they did is they moved I Prevail up, gave them a little bit longer of a set, and then I don't know why did they move the bands on the second stage? That doesn't make any sense. I know this is probably annoying, but I'm trying to figure out why they did this. Unless it was just because they wanted to start the other stages later. I don't know. That's kind of weird. But there was no replacement for them, so this is the final set list. So you got final set time. So I Prevail played for an hour. Jimmy Eat World plays for 50. Trivium plays for 45. The timings are all kind of thrown off over here. Then you got Crossfade with a 45-minute set. Under Oath plays for 45 minutes. All right. I'm gonna pop over to Sunday as well, because Alice in Chains ended up canceling because of the drummer Sean Kinney having a medical issue. He had to have like heart surgery, I think. So they ended up canceling their appearance at everywhere. Actually, all their shows for the entire rest of the year ended up getting canceled. So they were replaced by Beartooth. I believe Beartooth is local to the area, so that was the reason that they were able to put a show together pretty quickly for them. We have Metallica playing a 2.5 hour set this night. I don't know if they ended up actually playing longer or shorter, or how it is, because I think their sets are always 2. But Ice Nine Kills gets an hour to close outside. Beartooth for an hour. Odin Dead with 50 minutes. Spell with 45. Aston Alexandria 45. But that is all your previous lineups. So I would expect something a little bit closer to the depth and level quality of 2025. I wouldn't get my hopes up to say that it's going to be as deep as 2024, even though, or 2023 even. 2023 I do think is the best lineup, but it's more of the issue, or more of, do you want it more top heavy, or do you want it to be a deeper throughout the day? You have more bands that are going to be playing consistently. I kind of go back and forth personally. I've done it both ways, where I try to extend the day out, and then also just where I'll go for just part of the day. Now, the benefit to going for just part of the day is that personally you feel refreshed. You feel like you're not spending the whole day. The sun doesn't wear down on you as much. Weather conditions, the blacktop, the crowds. Less time you're there, less exposure. But the other way around too is that it's kind of nice to be able to knock out like 6 bands in one day, especially if it's like you haven't seen any of these artists that are on any of like one of these days on this stage. You want to see all these bands, and it lines up where you can see like 10 different artists. And get your bang for your buck as far as good artists throughout the whole day that you're going to want to see. I kind of see it both sides. I personally would expect it to be more probably toward the former, but I gotta say too, I think you might see it come kind of more back toward this way, because this is the big difference you're gonna see, or that I think anyway. So Sick New World last year had Metallica and Linkin Park, and part of the reason that it got canceled was low ticket sales. But part of the reason that they had to cancel because of low ticket sales is because if it didn't sell out, they were going to be able to afford the booking fee. So what does that mean for this festival? That means that the booking fees for Linkin Park and Metallica were very high, obviously, for this other festival organizer to feel like they were going to tour, so they might be a little bit higher of a booking fee, but Bring Me the Horizon's definitely not. I think that their performance and music-wise on the level of a headliner, but I don't think that financially that they're quite as regarded as highly on the festival circuit and by the audience. So I think that you're gonna see kind of a shift back toward this lineup, which these artists are not as in like obviously like high demand as Metallica or Linkin Park. You know, these are amphitheater or less size bands, amphitheater arena. Like I don't think any of these bands are going to be playing in a stadium of any size or selling out an arena. I don't think, you know, I saw Pantera 2 years ago at an amphitheater, probably sold at 70-80% capacity. Misfits, you could get in for $9 when I went to see them. So I think you're going to get somewhere in between. It's not going to be as deep as this lineup, and it's not going to be as top heavy as the other lineups that we've had so far. So I'm going to expect somewhere in the middle of the two, and I'm going to hope that we get another quality headliner. At least you can get 3 out of 4. If you get 3 out of 4, then you're in really good shape. Obviously, like